Harley Quinn #2, written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, art by Chad Hardin and Stéphane Roux? Stéphane? It's French, I'm not sure. Last issue, we had Harley's introduction, the whole series. She got a house on Coney Island. It has a freak show downstairs, along with a bunch of other stuff. And someone put out a hit on her, so she's dealing with that. We open up this issue with Harley cuddled up with the Joker, saying, "Miss me, puddin'." Turns out this is actually just a wax museum that's filled with wax figures of the world's most demented serial killers and like mass murderers. Because that's a draw. And the person who shows up, her name is Madame Macabre. And she's like, please don't hump the wax figures. And Harley's like, oh, sorry, I'm your new landlord. How's it going? She's like, oh, yes, I know who you are. I know of everybody who might eventually end up in this museum, Miss Harley Quinn. And they just go walking through the museum for a bit. We see like a bunch of people that I don't think are real. And then Jeffrey Dahmer, like they even have the nameplate that says Jeffrey Dahmer. So yeah. Anyway, at that point, she's like, yeah, anyway, I'm the new landlord. I'll connect rent at some point. Like, don't worry about it. I'm pretty easygoing. By the way, I need a fridge. Do you know where I could pick one up? And she's like, oh, you need like a regular fridge or something big? And she's like, huge, like massive. I got the floor space for it. And she's like, oh, perfect. Like, I've got just the thing for you. And turns out there's some lab or something that needs to shut down the building. And so they're just selling out this industrial-sized fridge for cheap. And Harley's like, great, fantastic, awesome. And as she's driving her way home, she pops by a adoption center where there's a bunch of people protesting outside. And she's like, what's going on? And they say, oh, this is a like kill shelter. They're going to kill off like 30 dogs and cats tomorrow that aren't adopted. And Harley's like, well, why don't you guys adopt them? And they're just like, we've already adopted as many as we can. I've got 47 cats. And someone else is like, I got 23 birds. And so everyone's just like, okay, fair enough. And they question how much Harley has. And Harley's like, I only got one dog and a beaver. So she walks in, she immediately fills out some paperwork. And the lady behind the desk is like, all right, let me just take a look at this and we'll set you up with the animal right away. She takes a look at it and just tears it in half. And Harley's like, oh, I'm sorry, puppies and kitties. I tried to save you. I really did. And as she's sitting on a bench thinking that she's got to do something, her beaver contacts, by the way, beaver's name is Bernie. If I say Bernie, just know that's the beaver. Bernie's like, well, we already know who you're going to call, so just go ahead and make the call already. So in Gotham, Poison Ivy picks up her phone, and Harley's just inviting her to spend the day up there, have a overnight trip. So Harley's just chilling out in her place, still doesn't have any furniture or anything. She's just eating a sandwich, and she's talking to Bernie about the number of people who have shown up to kill her and how one of them, they still have the dead body just in the place. And that's why she was hoping for the fridge so that she could keep the body cool and therefore not rotting. But she gets a call on her phone saying that the fridge is going to be late because she wanted it so cheap. Delivery's not going to follow through for a while. So she's like, oh, great. All right, this body's going to keep rotting. So then all of a sudden the body stands up and says, oh, give me a bath. And Harley freaks out. And it turns out it was just Poison Ivy manipulating it with her vines. And she's like, oh, man, I got you good. So Harley runs out, gives her a hug, and says, oh, yeah, no, hey, check out the place. By the way, you want to meet my beaver? And Poison Ivy's like, yes. And then she sees Bernie, and she's like, oh, you meant like an actual beaver. Yeah, they lean into that hard here. So at that point, Harley explains the plan about the pet place. They go down and just immediately start breaking out all the pets. And I guess Harley expected them to, like, come around to Harley and like come up to her, but instead they all just run out the front door and just like, oh, okay, that's not good. They're all going to get caught again. We got to take care of them. So Ivy says she'll take the ones on the left. Harley goes for the ones on the right. As she goes down the street, she finds a little dog, and as she's about to go pick it up, a car comes out of nowhere and like sideswipes Harley. She manages to do like a little flip over it, but she does manage to get hit. So at that point, Car swerves back around, says like, oh yes, Sugar Tush, Daddy's coming back for more. And Harley's like, I know, Sugar Tush, and you are certainly not my father. So she slams the mallet down on the car, distracting the driver enough that he crashes into a telephone pole, and then Harley just goes over with a pair of like bolt cutters, wrap them around his throat, and says, all right, Tell me, were you just like some random street guy looking to commit murder, or are you hired? And he's like, I was hired. I hate Brooklyn. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, what, did you see a print ad? Am I on the internet? What's up? He's like, yeah, you're all over the internet. And he's like, awesome. I need to set an example with you then. So she takes the guy and throws him into a nearby meat market, and he just crashes through the window. And as she's like, all right, this sucks. This is not how I saw my night going. Then she looks up all around her, and all the dogs have started surrounding her because this guy is covered in meat. So at that point, Poison Ivy's gone back to Harley's place. She's talking to some of Harley's tenants. And Harley drives up in a car filled with dogs, a bunch of dogs on the side, and then the dude covered in meat chained up behind it, forced to keep walking. And he's just like, yeah, no, this guy tried to kill me. Don't worry about him. There've been like 5 of them in the past week. And Ivy's like, yeah, no, everyone knows you have a hit out on you. Like, what are you going to do about that? She's like, I don't know. You got any plans? It's like, how about we fake your death and I'll collect the prize? And she's like, no, we'll think about that. So it turns out Ivy got all of her animals because she made some plants of like catnip and something that birds like as well. And so all of the dogs are brought upstairs to Harley's apartment, and immediately they all just start attacking the beaver. And Harley literally says the line, oh my God, the dogs are devouring my beaver. So at that point, they say like, oh, he's a friend, even if he's he's a stuffed beaver whose face is half burned. I hear him talk to me and he's a friend. Well, we got to find a way to stop these dogs. And they look over at the guy who's still following them, covered in meat, and they just throw him to the dogs, probably killing him. So next morning, Harley and Ivy wake up in bed. Ivy looks over, gives a little kiss to Harley, and goes downstairs and seemingly just leaves in the middle of the not middle of the night, but while Harley's still asleep. So sometime later, Harley wakes up, looks around for Ivy, and she's like, I must have gone. Oh well, too bad. And as she goes back downstairs into her garden, she sees that it is now beautiful with tons of trees and plants and stuff like that. And all the animals are just enjoying their time around there. So we have whatever the guy's name is. I can never remember that. From last issue, he shows up saying, hey, you mind if my pal Rodney here can just run around with the dogs? Because he's like a dog man or something. And I was like, yeah, sure, go nuts. So at that point, Harley asks him like, hey, I've got an idea. Are you good at building stuff? And he's like, yeah, no, I was an engineer. What do you have in mind? And they get to talking about whatever it is they're talking about. Well, we see some binoculars across the street are staring at Harley. And the narration is saying like, oh, fate has brought us together. Within a week, you'll be mine to do with as I please. And then a voice says like, oh, snack time. You can play with your thing later. And we see an extremely elderly man eating like Jell-O as he says like, oh, my enemies will be lying at my feet, defeated and dead thanks to you. So whoever the hell that is, it's okay. It's fine. It's good. I mean, here's the thing with this book. I have to go into it with a different mindset than every other book DC is publishing. And I'll try not to say this every single time, but like, it's a comedy first and foremost. And the question is, do the jokes land? I think so. I think it's funny the good way through. I think if they lean too heavily on this beaver thing, I might get tired of it sooner rather than later. We'll see how long they stick around with that. But as it stands now, it had a few funny jokes to it. I'm not opposed to the writing or anything like that. And the art looks good as well. So all in all, for what it's trying to be, I think it succeeds. I'll go ahead and give it a 7. It's just a fine book. I wouldn't say this issue is exactly my cup of tea, but it is doing what it set out to do, and it's doing it well. So yeah, 7 for this.